In the words of Adaptation, son cœur est en lui suspendu, sitôt qu'on le touche, il résonne. The heart is a poised lute. As soon as it is touched, it resounds.
Master's studio. He will begin to meet you shortly. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable. May I bring you anything, sir?
No, much obliged. However, on our way up the drive just a few minutes ago, I noticed something queer. I discovered a barely discernible fissure which, extending from the roof of the building in front, makes its way down the wall in a zigzag direction until it becomes lost in the sullen waters of the pool.
Truly, most observant. I will make sure to let the master know. Thank you, sir.
Of course. During the whole of a dull, dark, and soundless autumn day, when the clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens, I had been passing alone through a singularly dreary tract of country, and at length found myself, as the shades of the evening drew on, within view of the melancholy house of Usher. I know not how it was, but with the first glimpse of the building, a sense of insufferable gloom pervaded my spirit. I looked upon the scene before me with an utter depression of soul which I can compare to no earthly sensation more properly than to the after-dream of the reveler upon opium, the bitter lapse into everyday life, the hideous dropping off of the veil. Nevertheless, in this mansion of gloom I now propose to myself a sojourn of some weeks. Its proprietor, Roderick Usher, had been one of my boon companions in boyhood, but many years have elapsed since our last meeting.
Bless my eyes. My friend, it is so good to see you.
The same to you, Roderick. I was amazed to receive your letter calling me here. You look so different from when we met last.
And I am amazed that you accepted my invitation and overjoyed. As of late, I have suffered a sort of nervous agitation. I have developed an acute bodily illness, a mental disorder which oppresses me, which produced in me an earnest desire to see you.
I spoke to your family physician on the staircase. He wore an expression of trepidation. I hope everything is all right.
You are my best, my only personal friend. And my hope is that with the cheerfulness of your society, I may achieve some alleviation of this malady.
Of course, Roger. The manner in which all this and much more was said, the apparent heart that went with your request, left me no room for hesitation. It will be good to reacquaint. Although as boys we have been intimate associates, I really know little of you other than of...
My family?
Well, yes.
I have heard the same many times before.
Understandably so. The Ushers are a very ancient family, noted time out of mind for a peculiar sensibility of temperament, displaying itself through long ages in many works of exalted art and music, and deeds of charity.
I thank you. We Ushers have put forth, at no period, any enduring branch. In other words, our entire family lays in the direct line of descent. We are proud of our lineage.
And what of your health?
Lately, sudden and frightful affliction. It is both a constitutional and a family evil, and one for which I despair to find a remedy. A nervous affection which undoubtedly will soon pass.
What are the symptoms?
They bewilder me, and are of much interest to the medical professionals I have seen. The malady displays itself in a host of unnatural sensations. There's a morbid acuteness of the senses. The most insipid food is alone endurable. I can wear only garments of certain texture. The odors of all flowers are oppressive. My eyes are tortured by even a faint light. And there are but peculiar sounds, and these from stringed instruments, which do not inspire me with horror.
My God, Usher, how absolutely dreadful.
And yet there is more. I am enchained by a force.
A force?
Yes, a force.
What on earth do you mean?
It is difficult to explain. There's an influence. It's like some peculiarities in the mere form and substance of my family mansion have, by simple long sufferance, obtained over my spirits.
I do not understand. Is this the reason you have not ventured from this house in so many years, Usher? These superstitions?
I shall perish. I must perish in this deplorable folly. Thus and not otherwise shall I be lost. I dread the events of the future, not in themselves, but in their results. I shudder at the thought of any, even the most trivial incident, which may operate upon this intolerable agitation of soul. I have indeed no abhorrence of danger, except in its absolute effect, in terror. In this unnerved, in this pitiable condition, I feel that the period will sooner or later arrive when I must abandon life and reason together in some struggle with the grim phantasm fear.
Nonsense, Usher. But your feeling is only temporary, I assure you. Your physician is sure to find you a treatment, and in the meantime, I am here. I will help you through this.
I do not know what to say. Thank you. I am truly grateful.
You will get better. I am sure of this.
I wonder, though, if I will. You see, much of this peculiar gloom which afflicts me can be traced back to a more natural and far more palpable origin. It is the severe and long-continued illness of my tenderly beloved sister, my sole companion for long years, my last and only relative on earth. Indeed, this illness being approaching its dissolution.
You mean the Lady Madeline?
Her decease will leave me, the hopeless and the frail, the last of the ancient race of the Ushers.
Madeline had long baffled the skill of her physicians. A settled apathy, a gradual wasting away of the person, and frequent, although transient affections of a partially cataleptical character were the unusual diagnosis. She had steadily borne up against the pressure of her malady, but on the closing in of the evening of my arrival at the house, she succumbed to the prostrating power of the destroyer. Roderick relayed this to me at night with inexpressible agitation. I learned that the glimpse I had obtained of her person would thus probably be the last I should obtain, that the lady, at least while living, would be seen by me no more. For several days ensuing, her name was unmentioned by either Usher or myself, and during this period I was busied in earnest endeavors to alleviate the melancholy of my friend. We painted and read together, or I listened, as if in a dream, to the wild improvisations of his speaking guitar, and thus, as a closer and still closer intimacy admitted me more into the recesses of his spirit, the more bitterly did I realize the futility of all attempt at cheering a mind from darkness, a darkness which, as if an inherent positive quality, poured forth upon all objects of the moral and physical universe one unceasing radiation of gloom. I shall ever bear about me a memory of the many solemn hours I thus spent alone with the master of the House of Usher.
Have you any interest in poetry?
That depends on the poem.
I've started reading it, and having it recited to me rather frequently as of late. Since falling ill, and now that most music has become too indulgent for my ears to enjoy, I found poetry to be quite therapeutic. Would you like to hear one?
One that you wrote?
No. Its author is unknown. It is called The Haunted Palace.
I would be delighted.
It goes like this. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, Once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. All this was in the olden time, long ago. Wanderers in that happy valley, through 2 luminous windows, saw spirits moving musically to a lute's well-tuned law. Round about a throne were sitting Porphyrogene. In state, his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen. But evil things, in robes of sorrow, assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home, the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travelers now within that valley, through the red-litten windows, see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while like a rapid, ghastly river through the pale door, a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh, but smile no more.
Well spoken, Robert.
For me, it brings to mind the sentience of all things. That is the ability to distinguish between thought and feeling, reason and spirit. The result is discoverable in that silent, yet important and terrible influence, which for centuries have molded the destinies of my family, and which made me what you now see, what I am.
Such opinions need no comment, and I will make none. What else have you been reading?
Many, many things. By the French, the Italian, the Swedish, the majority written in Latin. One favorite volume is a small octavo edition of the Directorium Inquisitorum, a book of sorcery and witchcraft written by the Dominic Aymeric de Guillaume. There are passages in the works of Pomponius Mela about the old African monsters, satyrs, and ogapens, over which I will sit dreaming for hours. My chief delight, however, is found in the perusal of this. It is an exceedingly rare and curious book in quarto Gothic, the Vigile Moturum Secundum Coram, Ecclesiae Nangutine, Vigils for the Dead. It is the manual of a forgotten church.
One evening, having informed me abruptly that the Lady Madeline was no more, Roderick stated his intention of preserving the corpse previously to its final interment within one of the numerous vaults within the main walls of the building. The worldly reason, however, given for this singular proceeding was one which I did not feel at liberty to dispute.
It is only because I have been led to this resolution by consideration of the unusual character of the malady of my dear Madeline. Certain obtrusive and eager inquiries on the part of her medical men, and of the remote and exposed situation of the burial ground of my family.
I will not deny that when I called to mind the sinister countenance of the person I met upon the staircase on the day of my arrival at the house, I had no desire to oppose what I regarded as, at best, but a harmless and by no means an unnatural precaution.
I appreciate you personally aiding me in the arrangement of this temporary entombment.
Of course, Robert.
This vault had been used, apparently, in remote feudal times for the worst purposes of a dungeon keep, and in later days as a place of deposit for powder or some other highly combustible substance. You can see a portion of the floor and the whole archway through which we reached it have been carefully sheathed with copper. The massive iron door has also been similarly protected.
I see. I noticed that its immense weight caused an unusually sharp grating sound as it moved upon its hinges. A striking similitude between brother and sister.
I felt you would say so. We were twins. Sympathies of a scarcely intelligible nature had always existed between us. Just look at her. Could you not regard her unawed? Look at the mockery of a faint blush upon her bosom and face. And that suspiciously lingering smile, which is so terrible in death.
Roderick, you terrify and infect me with your restlessness. It is as if your unceasingly agitated mind is forever laboring with some oppressive secret, a secret which, if divulged, you lack the necessary courage. Will you not tell me what it is you obsess over? Your ordinary manner has vanished. Your ordinary occupations are neglected or forgotten. You wander from chamber to chamber mindlessly. It is as if you were ever searching for something. No matter. I will not fall victim to your fantastic yet impressive superstition.
You cannot sleep either. I sense it, because you feel it too.
Feel what?
Sleep came not near your side. The hours waned and waned away. You struggled to reason off the nervousness which had dominion over you. You endeavored to believe that what you felt was due to the gloomy furniture of the room or the tapestries as they swayed and rustled upon the wall, and all that fruitless.
What does it matter? Many are unable to sleep during a tempest such as this. It is nothing out of the ordinary. But you, on the other hand, wander the halls intentionally in your same pointless search, and come rapping at my door with your gentle touch, looking pale as a cadaver with hilarity in your eyes. You appall me.
Yet anything is preferable to the solitude which you have so long endured, is it not? You even welcomed my presence as a relief.
Get a hold of yourself, Usher. Can you not see that you are going completely mad?
As you lied in bed, an irrepressible and gradual tremor pervaded your frame.
Stop it, Roderick.
Sitting upon your heart was an incubus of utterly causeless harm. You sat up from your pillows, and peering earnestly within the intense darkness of the chamber, hearkened, for instinctive spirit prompted you. You felt it too!
I do not know what you are talking about.
Those low and indefinite sounds which came through pauses of the storm at long intervals, and from whence? You knew not. So you became overpowered by an intense sentiment of horror, unaccountable yet unendurable.
You are wrong.
I know that I am not. It is the same creeping, claustrophobic, nagging sensation which has for so long paralyzed me night after night.
I am not a fool, my friends, so do not act the part of a liar.
Roderick, you must tell me what is going on. What is this place? I confess you are right. I do feel something. Something dreadful. The malady has invaded me. This must be your condition. You must know. Tell me, Roderick.
And you have not seen it? You all have not seen it.
You must not, you shall not behold this. These appearances which bewilder you are merely electrical phenomena, not uncommon. It may be that they have their ghastly origin in the rank miasma of the wind. Away from this casement. The air is chilling, dangerous to your frame. Here is one of your favorite romances, the Mad Tryst of Sir Lancelot Cannon. I will read, and you shall listen, and so we will pass away this terrible night together.
One of my favorite romances. You are mistaken.
I call it a favorite more in sad jest than in earnest. In truth, there is little in its uncouth and unimaginative wordiness which could have had interest for your lofty and spiritual ideality.
Please, go ahead.
And Ethelred, who was by nature of a doughty heart, and who was now mighty withal, on account of the powerfulness of the wine which he had drunken, waited no longer to hold parley with the hermit, who, in sooth, was of an obstinate and maliceful turn, but, feeling the rain upon his shoulders, and fearing the rising of the tempest, uplifted his mace outright, and with blows made quickly room in the flankings of the door for his gauntleted hand, and now pulling therewith sturdily, he so cracked, and ripped, and tore all asunder, that the noise of the dry and hollow-sounding wood reverberated throughout the forest. Did you hear that? Apparently my excited fancy has deceived me. Amid the rattling of the sashes of the casements and the ordinary commingled noises of the still increasing storm, the noise in itself has nothing, surely, which should interest or disturb us. I shall continue the story. But the good champion Ethelred, now entering within the door, was sore enraged and amazed to perceive no signal of the malice for hermit, but, in the stead thereof, a dragon of a scaly and prodigious demeanor, and of a fiery tongue, which sate in guard before a palace of gold, with a floor of silver. And upon the wall there hung a shield of shining brass, with this legend enwritten: Who entereth herein, a conqueror hath been, who slayeth the dragon, the shield he shall win. And Ethelred uplifted his mace, and struck upon the head of the dragon, which fell before him, and gave up his pesty breath, with a shriek so horrid and harsh, and withal so piercing, that Ethelred had feigned to close his ears with his hands against the dreadful noise of it, the like whereof was never before heard. And now, the champion, having escaped from the terrible fury of the dragon, bethinking himself of the brazen shield and of the breaking up of the enchantment which was upon it, removed the carcass from out of the way before him, and approached valorously over the silver pavement of the castle to where the shield was upon the wall, which in sooth tarried not for his full coming, but fell down upon his feet, upon the silver floor, with a mighty great and terrible ringing sound. Roderick, do you not hear it?
I hear it. Yes, I hear it, and have heard it. Long, long, long. Many minutes, many hours, many days have I heard it. Yet I dare not. Oh, pity me, miserable wretch that I am. I dare not speak.
Speak of what, Roderick?
I heard her. I heard her first feeble movements in the hollow vault.
You speak of Madeline? Roderick, that's impossible.
I heard them. Said I not that my senses were acute? I heard her movements many, many days ago. Yet I dare not speak. And not tonight. Ethelred. The breaking of the hermit's door, the death cry of the dragon, and the clangor of the shield. Say rather, the rending of her coffin, the grating of the iron hinges of her prison, and her struggles within the hollow vault.
Roderick, that's impossible. Madeline is dead. You mustn't indulge this madness.
Whither shall I fly? Will she not be here anon? Is she not hurrying to bring me from my haste? Have I not heard her footstep on the stair? Do I not distinguish that heavy and horrible beating of her heart? Madman! Madman! I tell you, she now stands behind the door! Ah! Ah!
From that chamber and from that mansion I fled aghast. My companion Roderick had been borne to the floor a corpse, a victim to the terrors he had anticipated. The storm was still abroad in all its wrath as I found myself crossing the old causeway. Suddenly there shot along the path a wild light, and I turned to see whence a gleam so unusual could have issued, for the vast house and its shadows were alone behind me. The radiance was that of the full, setting, and blood-red moon, which now shone vividly through that once barely discernible fissure of which I have before spoken, as extending from the roof of the building in a zigzag direction to the base. As I gazed, this fissure rapidly widened. There came a fierce breath of a whirlwind, the entire orb of the satellite extinguished at once upon my sight. My brain reeled as I watched the mighty walls rushing asunder. There was a long, tumultuous shout